Did you get to meet everybody else?
Yeah.
Jeffrey, Ben.
Yeah.
They're all pretty excited to meet you.
Yeah, I'll probably see him later too, so.
Cool. Sweet. Alright, so let's give him an introduction, man. This is Dare, RIDDIM project. So basically, we know this is your first time in LA, right?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
How do you like the experience so far?
It's been fun. I've been here a lot before, but never for music or anything, so it's been a different experience.
Okay.
Thanks to
How
Brett.
did you kind of go about getting booked out here? Or did they hit you up?
You know, yeah, they just ended up actually just kind of messaging me on Twitter. I had networked with a lot of people in LA. I've actually come to know like Marbles and Lazy Flex, not from LA, but yeah. So that was about it, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
How's the scene out there?
Almost non-existent. Yeah, my manager right there, he's been throwing the shows lately. He brought out Ponix and Slimes, and that was a good show. But other than that, we don't really get small DJs like you guys do out here, like all the time. So
like in general, not even like dubstep based, just in general, or?
We get dubstep DJs if it's like a big USC event, but other than that, there's not really any like local shows you can go to that would have any underground oriented DJs.
Okay. Is there like venues to do that, or is there a lack of?
There's a few venues, but a lot of them are kind of, the cap is kind of big. It'd be like a lot for a more low-key DJ to actually thrive in, so.
There's like dubstep fans out there, right?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people like to call it the bass capital, but yeah, it's definitely dominated by the big corporations. Like, Paradiso's out there, and Bass Canyon was too.
Do they kind of like squeeze out small music in terms of like radius pauses and like not letting big people play there and stuff? Or?
Yeah, I guess it depends. Yeah, I don't know. It's been getting a little better, I guess, though. Just kind of creating stuff for ourselves. So
cool. So how did you start in music in general? What's your background?
Initially, the first show I ever went to was actually like a Flume show. And I was with my two friends, and I was just kind of standing back in the crowd and watching him perform. And I thought that was dope. Like, I had fun at the show, but I wanted to be on the stage. So initially, I started producing future bass. And I did that for like a long time, because I didn't really understand the whole aspect of sound design of dubstep. It all flew over my head. So yeah, I did that for a while, and then about 9 months ago, I made my first dubstep track, and kind of just took off from there. I was kind of on my own for a while, and then I started making friends in the scene, like Rigo and Zella and Juve and Whiplash, and the more people I met, the more I started learning and meeting new people, so it all just kind of came together.
Who, like, you said you were making future bass, right? But,
Yeah.
Like, how long were you at that for?
Future bass was probably like a good 6 or 7 months of just that. And I still make that a lot too. I have a side project right now actually where it's just all melodic stuff in house, because I still enjoy producing that a lot. But yeah, the majority of my music career was producing melodic tracks. Yeah, it took me a while to get into the whole all the dubstep stuff, even though I actually started DJing and all I would mix was dubstep, but all I would make was future bass. So it took me a while to kind of get over the learning curve to actually start making that stuff.
So future bass was like your introduction to EDM in general, right?
Yeah, it really was. That was all it was. And for a while, the first dubstep artist I saw was Eptic, I think, at Resolution a few years ago. And that experience, it was cool. I thought it was awesome, and it was kind of the same mindset I had seeing Flume. So
how was the switch from future bass to the heavy stuff?
I've always been a fan of heavier stuff, you know, like whether it was like rap or like rock music, I leaned way more towards the more aggressive, you know, kind of vicious music, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more satisfying for me to make that stuff than future bass.
Were you listening to dubstep at all?
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I had been listening. I made like Call of Duty montages when I was like in 9th grade, and the go-to music for that was dubstep. Yeah. So I'd be listening to that. I was listening to like Skrillex in like 9th grade, and would dabble in and out. And then I didn't really get into it until I started producing it, realistically.
Okay, so when did you start producing, like in general?
Yeah. About 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
And that's including the times where I was making, you know, like hip-hop beats, just the, like, god-awful stuff that people couldn't listen to.
So were you making hip-hop beats before?
No. I downloaded Logic, beginning of 2017, I believe, and struggled in that for a while and would be on and off for, like, weeks just not really making stuff because it did not make any sense to me. And then saw Flume and started getting more into it and just like kind of binging on YouTube videos for future bass and just general EDM structure and everything. And then after that, I pretty much produced every day since. So it really picked up from there.
Okay. So yeah, you've just been grinding then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was a dad at 17. So my free time went from all the time to basically night. So I realized that if I wanted to become, you know, good at music, I had to utilize like any free time I had. So my nights are spent making music pretty much.
You sleep?
A little bit, a few hours. Occasionally.
2 to 3 hours? Or what? How bad?
Yeah, 3 to 4, like 4 to 5. It kind of depends. I'm in school too, so Jeez. It depends on how much I'm getting slammed by school.
What does like your regular day look like?
Regular day, I wake up probably about 7:30 to 8 and watch Kylie, my daughter. Play with her the whole day. I don't really like to make music while she's awake because she'll come and, you know, slam on the keyboard or she just won't have it. And I feel bad producing while she's awake anyways. So she goes to sleep around 8. And then from then until 1 or 2, I'm making music, whether that's like DJing or making a new song or watching tutorials or something. I just like to keep doing music related things whenever I can. Because I felt like I was a little bit behind the curve getting started at like 19 anyways. And then, you know, having my free time restricted a little bit just gave me a little more drive, I guess, to get better as fast as I could.
How old are you? How old are you now?
21.
21?
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, you're like a junior?
Yeah.
You're a junior?
Yep.
Okay. What do you plan on doing when you graduate? As far as, you know, like going full route music or like what's your plan in general?
Wait, what are you studying?
Digital media marketing.
Okay.
So like marketing on social media, which is really helpful with music,
really
and it's helped me a lot. But yeah, in a prime situation, I would like to just, you know, say glad that I have a major and everything, but then go on with music. But I guess the difference between me and a lot of other people is that I can't, you know, ditch what I would consider a regular life and go for music because it might not be as viable. Mm-hmm. So gotta weigh my options at that point and see what is working best. But either way, I would like to get a job something like related to music marketing or anything like that. And always continue doing music.
You working a job right now?
No.
No, so you're just doing the music stuff?
Yeah, I actually live with my mom, so she helps out a lot. I watch Kylie all day and then do music and school stuff at night.
Does that kind of like, when you had a kid early, did that kind of like make you kind of get on your horse and realize like, damn, I got to provide for somebody?
Yeah, it's actually weird because a lot of people have said that they would, you know, assume that would have totally cut out the opportunity for me to want to pursue something like that. But I guess my point of view is that I wouldn't want to be like an average dad, and there's nothing wrong with that, but personally I would want like Kylie to grow up and have her dad be a figure that's something a little out of the ordinary. And it just so happens that music like developed into one of my greatest passions. And art-based stuff was always what I was into, I guess. I was in like a rock band when I was like 16. We played like little shows at like coffee shops, and then I was a photographer and then a videographer. So I guess it all just kind of came around to me making music. It's only a matter of time.
Do you have like a rock background as far as musical taste?
Yeah. It kind of varies, I wasn't the most like extreme like rock fan, but from like 7 to like now, I guess I was listening to the first like Panic at the Disco album. That kind of shaped the kind of music I listened to from there, and I got into like pop punk and then the more like hardcore stuff, and I always listened to rap. And a lot of my dubstep tracks are kind of oriented towards rap, I guess.
What kind of like rap are you into?
Modern day, auto-tuned.
Yeah, like
the kind of melodic stuff, I guess, over the trap beats. I like that
So
stuff.
like who? Like what artists?
Like YNW Melly,
Okay.
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
just went down for his double murder. That was
It's
crazy.
kind of sad.
That was insane.
The plays of Murder on My Mind,
Yeah.
went crazy after
Yeah,
that.
for real.
And admittedly, I've listened to that a lot since all that happened,
No,
because I've been
definitely,
listening.
yeah, so
Like,
did I.
did he like admit something in the song?
Yeah, no, his streams went up by like I think 1,000% on
Yeah.
that one song. It's like a number 1 song in the nation. Right?
Yeah.
Wait, but did he actually say something about it in the song? Or like,
In the song, he goes like, he says something about killing his homie, like he accidentally shot his homie or whatever, and then he died in his arms, and then he had to kill him. Accidentally, yeah, for real, in quotations. But I mean, I don't know. It's a crazy situation.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess that's the kind of stuff I'm into. I hate saying this, but I'm not a huge like old school rap fan. That wouldn't really be my preferred genre. I still have respect for it though. So.
Yeah, you can't be saying fuck.
Yeah, no.
yeah, you can't be saying that.
Yeah, no, for real.
I don't want to take Lil Xan's path.
So you're making dubstep for hours at a time every day.
Yeah.
So do you listen to it as well?
Oh yeah. I listen to it a bunch. I've actually discovered that my best tracks come out of when I'm kind of not listening to it. Because if I'm binging on dubstep, then I'll make something that will sound a little too similar to another artist's song. And if I'm listening to rap, it doesn't really have much to do with the rap song I was listening to that correlates to my own track, but
Just more like
just gives me that
the
mental
vibe,
headspace.
the-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I forgot who it was, but somebody said like the best advice they could give a music producer was don't listen to anybody else's stuff and just make music
Yeah.
for like not forever, obviously, but just for like a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And you'll figure something
Yeah,
out.
definitely. I didn't understand that when I first started producing, because I would like study these songs to like understand the fundamentals, because it seemed so complicated to me, like all the things that went into it. But at this point, if I kind of give myself a mental break, then I come back and make something better. And I was kind of in this mindset for like the past 2 years where like if I miss a day of producing, then I have hit a huge setback in the progress I could have made. But realistically, when I do take a break, a way better song comes out of it than me just stressing myself out trying to make, project after project. So
you're producing every day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like, I can't recall a day within the past 2 years that I haven't produced.
Dang.
It's like a nervous thing. Some like kind of started to replace it with like hitting a jewel, like a nervous, like, if I have my friends over, like
totally.
people like twiddle their fingers or like, like bite their fingernails, and I'll just start mixing or making music. So
Yeah, I can see where you just kind of get stuck in there and you're just like,
yeah.
why not
Yeah,
keep
it's
going?
Yeah.
habit more than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like one of those things where like it gets better as you get better at it, I think.
Yeah.
Just because you have more fun with it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I can see where it can kind of be a little addicting.
Yeah. At first, it was a little depressing because like I put a lot of effort into a song and then realized that like it sounded like total shit, and I'd be like, am I spending my time wisely doing this stuff? But at this point, you know, I make plenty of bad songs still. I am by no means, you know, the best producer around, but I still, you know, I'll have an idea and I'll sometimes nail it, and you know, something usually comes out of me sitting down at my computer for 4 hours and making music, rap beats or like future bass or dubstep or house.
What else do you listen to besides, or an EDM besides dubstep? You said future bass, obviously. And...
Yeah, future bass. Well, not specifically future bass, but like melodic music. I think I really like the merge between melodic music and dubstep. You know, or like where they'll have a super melodic intro and then go into something just super hard. I love house, but I don't listen to too much of it. I just like to make tracks in like 120 to 128 sometimes. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I listen to like mostly RIDDIM. I don't keep too up to date with like the big like dubstep label releases. It kind of depends. If one catches my eye, then it's there. But yeah.
Who do you kind of follow in dubstep right now?
That's kind of hard to say, I guess. Like my favorites would be like Flix and Modus, 5-0 Man. But if you listen to my music, it doesn't really take that route. It typically ends up, I don't know. I guess some tracks could be called RIDDIM and some just kind of aren't. But those are typically the genre of artists that I'm listening to, like sudden death and stuff. That kind of wide range of genres.
You're into the rhythmy stuff.
Yeah.
When you said you don't really listen to like big dubstep labels, who do you mean? Like Bygore?
Like Never Say Die. I'll hear some releases that are really good, but then some of it is just, you know, like it's not really the taste that I've acquired and would really want to kind of apply to my music, I guess. So that stuff mostly goes over my head. I'm always on like just searching SoundCloud, looking at like stations, trying to find like stuff with like the least amount of likes to put in my sets and everything.
Now, is that because you want to have something fresh that people haven't seen, or just like new sounds?
New sounds, and yeah, like something I've noticed, I guess, with big dubstep labels is that it's often like following a curve, I guess. And when you find something that's super unique and under the radar, it's usually pretty original. Like one of the artists I've like been really following lately, it's this artist named Akios. Just like some of probably the most like ridiculous like rhythm dubstep tracks I've heard, and I have like 8 in my set tonight, I think. She sent me like a bunch of dub plates from that. And that all came from me just kind of looking through, you know, underground stuff and kind of overpassing anything I saw with the big label stamped on the artwork. So
you on listening on SoundCloud? On SoundCloud?
Yeah. A few like Cland.io, they like just kind of keep up to date with new releases for RIDDIM. I like that stuff. And I don't follow too many other artists other than my producer friends on social media and stuff. So, you know, it's just a better way to keep up to date, I guess.
Is there anybody else kind of doing what you're doing from Seattle?
Young Wub. I made a song with them, and we have another song in the works. Yeah. That's really the only person I can name, to be honest. Other than that, I don't know anyone that's DJing. I'm friends with like other rappers and stuff. But in terms of EDM, yeah, it's me and Young Web. He takes kind of the, you know, more of like the dubstep route. But he's really good. That's about it. We're under the same management, and then.
What would be like the biggest? I want to say dubstep city, but I guess EDM city like around you guys. if it's even in Washington?
I mean, I guess I'd say Seattle because Seattle's just the most populated. There's a lot of places in Washington that are kind of far out. There's like, you know, all these college campuses and stuff. But I you know, Seattle's probably the most populated, which says a lot about how not prominent the scene really is because it's a, you know, super overpopulated place. And then, you know.
But I mean, you said the demand's there for it, right? Like there's listeners there. They're just.
Yeah, it's more about getting, you know, the artists out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I a lot goes into shows that I don't really know. He would know. I mean, it's all the, like, promotion and just getting the right people to see it. And there's a lot of people who, like, love, like, bass music, but then if you were to bring, like, 5-0 Man to Seattle, they would have no idea who you're
like,
talking about.
Like, they wouldn't have any idea who you're talking about, or, like, they wouldn't like the music?
Probably both.
Really?
Yeah, you know, I guess there's a difference between really, like, you know, dubstep and rhythm is not all that similar in style. If you're comparing, like, Zomboy to, like, you know, all these more underground, like, rhythm artists, I feel like a lot of the fans, it's more of an acquired taste, I guess.
Yeah.
And it, you know, people aren't as exposed to it in Seattle, so it's hopefully something that will develop. That's kind of what we're trying to do because it would be really fun to have a more prominent scene.
What kind of plans do you guys have as far as that? Like, how would you go about something like that?
Just getting more artists out there, trying to find better ways of, you know, promotion for the shows to get it, you know, out there. Also kind of merging bigger artists with more underground artists, kind of. Like, our last show was with Ponix and Slimes. Ponix was the headliner, and he, you know, he's like kind of an OG in terms of rhythm culture. And then we had Slimes, and a lot of people knew who Slimes was because Slimes, you know, is just building up a lot of impact in the scene. But kind of merging those two is a good way to get people to gain an ear for that sound and, you know, enjoy their current favorite artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, in my opinion at least, I feel like more people nowadays are going towards that rhythmy sound versus the dubstep sound.
Oh, yeah.
So do you feel like it's only a matter of time?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, like, the Seattle area, whether we push the sound or not, at some point, you know, people would be gravitating towards that. If you listen to, like, a lot of the big label releases now are obviously oriented from, you know, the more underground sounds and, you know, being brought up like that. So whether people realize it or not, it's making its way up and becoming kind of like the norm for dubstep, the way that, like, brostep was at one point, you know?
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like rhythm could go mainstream like that?
Yeah. I mean, as mainstream as, you know, as dubstep was a few years ago. And it's picking up, you know, like with the Sudden Death and, like, Marshmello collab. That was definitely, like, a huge push into, like, the mainstream because Marshmello has developed these, like, you know, really, like, kind of common listener type of fans where they're pretty regular people, but they're getting an ear for EDM. And then if they hear a collab with Sudden Death, I don't know, maybe it'll kind of, like,
It just kind of, like, normalizes it.
Yeah.
Especially because he has such a big reach.
Yeah, definitely. And
yeah, I mean, think about it. Marshmello just did the whole thing with Fortnite. You hear about that?
Yeah.
And, I mean, Sellout dropped, like, I think 2 days before that whole concert went off, and I think someone was saying, I think in an article or something, that Marshmello's streams went up by, like, 12,000%.
Yeah.
So I just saw that Sudden Death song, like, reached 1 million streams in, like, 2 days or something.
Yeah.
And that kind of really does show you, like, how much impact bringing EDM to the mainstream can have on, like, one artist.
Yeah,
just, like,
definitely.
the follow-up.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, EDM has been on kind of a consistent slope, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's been getting super popular and people that I, you know, personally I wouldn't have expected to listen to EDM are hitting a ton of raves now and just saying, you know, they're, like, all professing their love for
Yeah.
EDM. So
EDM is one thing, but it's like when you hear people that you didn't think would listen to dubstep, and you're like,
yeah, yeah, I know. Especially because it's the people who were just disgusted by it a few years ago, and then you get the yeah.
I mean, yeah, but that's like almost any other thing. Like when you see people gravitating towards one thing, they just kind of follow. So I feel like raving, particularly here, got like really big.
Yeah.
Like just going to like festivals, Insomniac festivals, that became like a huge thing.
It became like a cool thing to do. Like it just became part of like the culture.
Yeah. The way that like rap shows once where it's kind of like been substituted with raves now. Mm-hmm. Which has its upsides and downsides.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It does. But like as far as being an artist, strictly, what's your take on that?
As far as being an artist, it's good because there's a bigger chance of you becoming successful. But I guess in that same aspect, you could be more drowned out by other artists also trying to come up. So being prominent is the way to, make yourself kind of stand out, which I'm still working on. I don't have a signature sound like Cash, or like Joof. Joof has like this crazy like prominent sound that like you could tell was him if you listen to it. I'm still working on that kind of stuff, but yeah, I guess the most important thing now is just being like original and being able to draw yourself out from other DJs in a growing community where there's just a ton of people that could potentially listen to your music. And it also has a lot to do with marketing at this point, I guess, and a lot of people don't like to think of it that way because, in theory, it's nice to think that you can make music and at some point you'll make it. But, I don't really think that's the way it's ever been.
Does it take more than the music?
Yeah, if any big DJ was to be real with you, I think that they, maybe 1% of DJs actually blew up purely off of their music, I couldn't really cite that, but
yeah,
it's really important.
Anybody can like sit down and say that Sudden Death made it strictly because of his music.
Yeah,
like, that dude is like something else.
Yeah. I mean, it's undeniable that he's like a really good, producer. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have that edge, especially with social media being like so prominent now, it will be really easy to get, pushed under by producers who know how to work their marketing.
Yeah, somebody
which
said,
sucks. But
I think it was Ben that mentioned like, what are you going to be doing in between your releases that's going to keep people's attention?
Yeah, exactly. You can't just disappear, and then you kind of have to keep people. Keep your name in people's mouths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so much shit coming out. Like, people are dropping so much shit that, like, you'll just get lost. Like, your music, your name will get lost in, like, the shuffle and everything else. Yeah. So, first show in LA, first show out of state?
Yeah, first show out of state.
So, how does it, like, is this like a something you're going to mark in your calendar saying, like, all right, this was, like, a big part?
Yeah, this was it was a really big turning point for me. I had like last October I played a show in front of like 10 people, and it was actually I got DM'd on SoundCloud from this lady, and she was like, "We want to book you." I was like, "This is awesome, like I'm already making it." And then I got there and it was a bunch of like SoundCloud rappers from my area, and like someone got shot after the show. I was the only DJ there, and that was like horrible, and I was kind of reconsidering. I was like, is this like what it is?
Shows like
yeah, but like my first kind of like real show was Seattle's Electric Haven, which he threw. We threw that at the Vera Project in Seattle, and we got a pretty good turnout. It was just like local DJs kind of banding together. But after that, we teamed up. He ended up managing me, and then I met Young Wub, and then stuff kind of picked up from there. This is my first out-of-state show, but I think I'll be traveling a few more times this year to like Houston and Buffalo.
Word.
Yeah.
Cool. So I mean, you made it out to LA. What other kind of plans do you have coming up?
Well, mostly like, self-improvement kind of stuff, like as an artist, just find a way to really maintain the like longevity of my name, I guess, as opposed to getting a few thousand plays one year and then disappearing. Yeah. I just want to come out being more prominent, you know, and I want to have more of a signature in my music, continue playing shows and everything, because that's like one of the biggest like rushes I can get is playing a show in front of people. So, and I think tonight's show will be one of my biggest thus far. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good show tonight.
Yeah,
been pretty hyped for that.
Yeah.
All right, man. I mean, is there anything else in particular that you want people to know about you?
Like any upcoming releases, like collabs with artists?
I released a song called Goonies yesterday. Other than that, I've actually taken the stance of waiting a little longer. I was going to go into this year thinking that, like, you know, my slope of improvement has been so fast that I should just start releasing and kind of document progress. But I don't know. No one wants to hear a release like every week from someone, especially from me. Even if it was from Sudden Death, people would be like, okay, it'd become kind of a passive thing. So, yeah, probably releases about once a month because I've got a good year worth of music. So, yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Word.
Cool.
All right. Anything else?
Nope. That's all.
All right. Well, Matt, thanks for coming through.
Dope. Thanks, you guys.
Really quick, just let everybody know where they can find you, social media, stuff like that.
You can find me on all social media under DVRE Music. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this is Derek. Thank you, man.
Thanks,
It's good to have you.
Yeah. Thank you.
This was